Welcome one, welcome all to Tarble Arena in Kenosha, Wisconsin, off the coast of Lake Michigan. It is a Tuesday night trifecta of top Division III NCAA volleyball. One of the top teams in the nation, the Carthage College Firebirds, 10-4 overall record. Welcome the Titans, 14-2 of UW Oshkosh. Hello, everybody. Welcome in this Tuesday afternoon. Alongside my broadcast colleague this afternoon, Brea Lassek, I'm Peter Ferreri. Brea, looking at what these two teams are looking for, again, perennially top of their conference, perennially receiving votes at the national level. In your prep, what do you kind of see coming to transpire here this afternoon?
Yeah, this is going to be a great invitational for all three teams. This first matchup between Carthage and Oshkosh. I'm just excited to see some good, hard-hitting volleyball here. I know you are as well.
Yes. Let's start now with looking at some of the statistics and how we got to this point for the Firebirds. They're hitting over that .218 percentage. Blocks a little bit above 2, but the big one to me is the aces right above 2, as well as some of the other information.
Absolutely. Service aces per set, 2.26. And with that, they're serving tough. So even if you see some service errors in this match for Carthage, don't fret exactly, because when you serve tough, you might make some of those errors as well. That's why you have that high of a number, is because you're fearless behind the line.
On the flip side, for the Titans of UW Oshkosh, again, we look at the numbers. Certain things are a little bit lower, certain are a little bit higher. That .231 hit percentage, crucial. And again, both of these statistics brought to you by the Pullman Auto Stores of Wisconsin. Brea, talk us through what the Titans bring offensively and defensively.
Yeah, they have so many weapons offensively. You see that hitting percentage at .231. That's more toward the top of D3. And just overall, like I said, all of those weapons, they're such a well-rounded team, and that's why they're ranked so high in the country.
Indeed they are. Let's take a look at our player to watch first off with the Carthage College Firebirds. I mean, if you haven't tuned in before, you shouldn't be surprised. Jenna Damon, our Doctor of Physical Therapy player to watch, the libero, the senior from small town Illinois, one of the best not only in the conference, not only at the D3 level, but one of those players who coaches said perennially could be playing at the D1 level.
And one of those players that I know is one of your favorites to talk about. She has logged over 300 career sets for the Firebirds in her career, averaging 4.33 digs this season per set, 22 digs last match as well. So she's putting in the work back there.
On the flip side, for the Titans, the player that will be causing some offensive havoc for Jenna Damon to try to be able to stop is none other than Samantha Perlberg.
Samantha Perlberg has such a heavy arm for Oshkosh. 4.59 kills per set. That's a monster number. She leads her team in both kills and kills per set.
Titans and Firebirds coming your way shortly. Again, it is a non-conference matchup. So, Brea, you know, within your tenure of calling NCAA volleyball, things are always a little bit different for a non-conference. Things I've seen before you can expound is, you know, maybe you try a little bit different of a lineup. Try to maybe, if a bench player hasn't gotten some minutes, you sub them in. What have you seen in non-conference matchups, but still trying to prove your point and come away with a win?
Yeah, I would totally agree with all of that. No matter the sport, I think a lot of coaches do try to mix up maybe schematically and try to figure out what works that way. When the conference schedule is just a little bit more of something that you might worry about, then that's when you want to lock in and have that all figured out.
Yeah, indeed. Excited for this matchup. And again, after this contest, it's a trifecta of course. Carthage plays again at 7 o'clock tonight, or time pending. Who knows? We might have all 5 setters and we'll just be here until tomorrow. But in the meantime, UW Oshkosh immediately following will be playing Edgewood University. We're going to hand it over to Justin Corrigan, the PA announcer, for the national anthem and introductions. Once again, we're live on the CCIW network.
Carthage College Firebirds. At this time, we ask that you please direct your attention towards the American flag located at the north end of the arena. It draped over the coffin of Captain Frank Vavrin, a former Carthage student who died in Vietnam in 1970. The flag is a gift to the college from his parents. In remembering Captain Vavrin, we pay tribute to all who have sacrificed their lives for our country and honor those who today put themselves in harm's way in service of America. At this time, we ask that you please rise and move your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, fans, it's time to meet today's starting lineups. First, for the visiting Titans of Wisconsin Oshkosh. A 6-foot sophomore from Oswego, Illinois, number 2, Riley Burrowman. A 5'10" junior from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, number 5, Samantha Perlberg. A 5'9" junior from Lockport, Illinois, number 7, Grace Jurgens. A 5'11" junior from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, number 14, Lauren Greer. A 5'10" freshman from Heartland, Wisconsin, number 18, Marin Motz. A 5'9" senior from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, number 22, Izzy Kuhn. And at libero, a 5'2" freshman from Oak Creek, Wisconsin, number 8, Callie Panasek. The head coach of the Titans is John Ellman. Coach Ellman is assisted by Braden Melton, Caitlin Vara, Delaney Rutherford, and Megan Butke. All right, fans, make some noise. It's showtime.
When I walk the streets, king and queen step aside, and every man I meet, they are steady satisfied. I want to tell everybody what I see, I make my own. I'm gonna tell you, honey, that I'm bad to the bone.
The bicycle kick! Oh my goodness!
I'm bad to the bone. I'm bad to the bone. I'm here to tell you, honey, that I'm bad to the bone.
And now the starting lineup for your Carthage College Firebirds. At center, right side hitter, a 5'9" sophomore from La Crosse Logan High School in La Crosse, Wisconsin, number 3, Ava Detweiler. And outside hitter, a 5'6" senior from Geneva Community High School in Geneva, Illinois, number 6, Madeline Danielson. At middle blocker, a 6'2" senior from Nearings Hall High School and hailing from St. Louis, Missouri, number 9, Katie Boston. At middle blocker, a 5'10" freshman from Antioch Community High School in Antioch, Illinois, number 13, Emma Crow. At right side hitter, a 5'10" junior from Niles West High School in Skokie, Illinois, number 14, Christina Monod. At middle blocker, a 6'1" freshman from Oak Lawn Community High School, and hailing from Chicago Ridge, Illinois, number 16, Haley Wierzak. At libero, a 5'3" senior from Durand High School in Durand, Illinois, number 10, Jenna Damon. And at libero, a 5'3" freshman from Bangor High School and hailing from Leon, Wisconsin, number 31, Grace Wento. The Carthage Firebirds are coached by Leanne Ulmer. Coach Ulmer is assisted by graduate assistant Sydney Kruger. Now let's get ready for Firebirds volleyball.
And welcome back to the Firebird Broadcasting Network, now part of the CCIW Network. Let's take a look at the starters for this non-conference but ranked matchup. Number 3 versus 25. Of course, Jenna Damon in the libero spot, but also some freshmen getting the start this time around. Brea, we talked about maybe some lineup changes in a non-conference matchup, so a solid lineup for the Firebirds.
Yeah, that's how you instill confidence in freshmen and get them that experience before you throw them into a CCIW match.
As for the visiting Titans of UW Oshkosh, they have a plethora of veteran starters on the squad. Alongside number 22, Izzy Kuhn. Number 5, Samantha Perlberg. As mentioned, our player to watch, 18, Marin Motz. Joining her at the libero spot, number 8, Callie Panasek out of Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Alongside her is Grace Jurgens, the pin hitter out of Lockport, Illinois, New Haven Township. Left to right are going to be the Firebirds in their home reds with white numbers and letters, black trim. Jenna Damon in the sleeveless black, and the visiting Titans in their road whites with black numbers and letters, red trim. I'm always thankful when it's jerseys I can see, so I want to call that out. And we're underway at Tarble. How about the tape base? What other way would you rather start? Number 6, Maddie Danielson. Up and down season so far, solid ace to start. Round 2 she goes. Back row picked up by libero Panasek. Damon off the top, set left pin. Down, nice up, overpass, but playable on the free ball. And Danielson couldn't get into the back row, and we're tied at 1 apiece.
And that's just an unfortunate start there on that point for the Firebirds. Communication issue, but I want to point out that tough serving. We mentioned it in the open, about 2.2 aces per set. You already see one here.
And that stays in, drops at the shoelaces of Maddie Danielson. So again, she's aggressive. She's one of the senior leaders in this squad. Coach Ulmer, the highest expectations of her this season. We'll get more on that as the game goes along. They go back row for Damon. The dump, and they're just pulling everything out of the bag of tricks right now. Ava Detweiler setting today and pulls out the dump, third point in.
Yeah, pulling into the bag of tricks and right into the center. There was a huge hole there. Detweiler saw it all the way through, and that started out with a perfect pass from Damon.
From the Bick over the top. The back set falling away. Emma Crow. That falls behind the back line. Firebirds get another point up 3-2. It is a fast-paced game. It is bump, set, spike if they even get to the spike. We've had an ace, we've had a dump, and we were 5 points in to the opening set of the trifecta. Near pin, 3-set, uppercut playable. Back row Danielson on the free ball. Can the Titans take advantage? Back set down, and Damon can't get the left elbow up in time. Titans get the point.
And that was just an incredibly aggressive swing going line. Great execution.
3-3 your score. Vote serve back to Damon on the spot. Over the triple. Near pin, can the Titans deliver? Nice self-preservation for Detweiler with the two-hand palm. Out of play it goes, and the Titans can't get there.
Another great out-of-system swing by Emma Crow. Her second already of the afternoon, staying composed when things aren't going exactly right.
That one goes right into the tape for Tatum Kebasek, the rotational setter. Carthage playing a 6-2 offense, rotating Detweiler for Kebasek and vice versa. However, Detweiler, one of the better outsides as well from her earlier career, so she's able to play more of those 6 rotations. Overpass Damon, and they go right back for Danielson in the back row.
A rare mistake for Damon, and Oshkosh capitalizes.
Up served by Perlberg. Play to watch. To the left pin, and that sails out of play. Good play by Panasek to just get out of the way. Oshkosh, I really like the cheers they have. I haven't quite picked them up yet, but each and every point, Brea, they got something going on that sideline. Danielson up to Kebasek, the quick set, no. Lauren Greer, the pride of Fond du Lac, says no thank you. The transfer from Arkansas Tech.
That's her 40th block of the season, and the way that she just gets up and presses down. Very impressive.
High set left side, the rollover by Manojlovic. Nice little run. Oh, Damon with the diving left hand uppercut. Off the pin, Damon stays flat-footed, able to get to it in time. Near pin, down and in. Detweiler delivers. Birds get the point.
Very smart swing there going to the right back. There was no one there for the Titans, and it was red all the way through.
Pass near pin. Side swipe. Missed time, but playable. Wierzak got a little bit lucky. She was on the spot. Ice up by Panasek. Cassidy stalled, tried to keep that alive. Danielson again, but playable. Longest rally of the early contest. Damon gets out of the way. Oh, that was close. That was a fun rally.
Back and forth between both teams, but it ends with Damon just staying confident and reading that well. Could have easily decided to go for it. I mean, in a long rally, you don't want to be the person that's responsible for the ball dropping, so great read.
See, they even got the clap down. It was throwing me off in the booth. Not sure if that's what caused the service error.
Well, when they started their cheers as well, that was the first service error that Carthage had.
See, you're on it. You know, you've been studying. They probably gave me the whole playbook, so if you start cheering along, it'll make sense.
I was a college cheerleader.
See, there you go. Double block, that stays in. Great wall for the Titans, back up by 3.
They somehow were able to steal both the line and that cross-court shot. That was a great block.
This communication back row, we may have an early timeout. Birds trail by 4, and indeed there it is. Kind of feel, as you know, timeout could be coming, and that was just a communication error. It's one thing if it's a block that you just couldn't get through, or if it's a kill that sailed too far, but when it's communication error based on that rotation, it's time to call a timeout.
And we've seen a couple of those for Carthage so far in this first set. Danielson let that one drop for an ace a little bit beside her. There were a couple timing issues in the middle, so I'm not surprised that there was a timeout called here. Good to catch it early.
Looking at some of the individual numbers so far, 2 kills apiece for Crow and Detweiler. On the flip side, 2 kills for Juergens, leading the offensive charge. 154 is what Oshkosh is hitting to 077, but one of the biggest differentials, already a 2-to-1, is the difference in those aces, but those 2 service errors. So again, you mentioned in the pregame, that serve receive is really going to have some implications, and it's what's more or less caused that 4-point differential so far.
Yeah, serving tough is one of the most important parts of volleyball, and I think every single volleyball coach will laugh and tell you, yeah, we got to serve and pass better.
Yeah.
Even if you're the #1 team when it comes to reception percentage or whatever it is, every single team works on serve and pass during every practice. It's the bread and butter of volleyball.
Oh, the coaches point barely, a fraction past the end line. Gets the Firebirds the point, and coming in to serve is going to be Kyla McTeague. McTeague, one of the McTeague sisters, along with Ava McTeague. Double block, finding the pieces trailing away. There's Dukavich, and point for the Titans, up 11-7.
These next few points for Carthage are going to be very telling, especially coming out of that timeout, seeing what they can draw up and not wanting to get too far away. A 4-point differential isn't the end of the world this early in the set, but anything more of that, then that's something to be worried about.
Damon able to get just enough underneath it to keep the rally alive. Back set. Double block Katie Boston in the contest, one of the best middle blockers in the CCIW. Good to see her rotation finally allowing her to show her presence. Near pin, Jenna Damon couldn't get the self-preservation in time. Oshkosh up by 5, 12-7.
And before that, we saw another timing issue in the middle between setter and Boston. So something to take an eye on and something that Oshkosh just took advantage of.
Maddie Danielson powers through to the left side. Can that be the spark plug the Firebirds needed? Thought maybe that service error out of the timeout could be enough. It wasn't quite. Can that power kill be the difference? Back to serve is Detweiler. On the slide, back row Damon. Finding the gap successfully, Emma Crow out of Antioch, Illinois. Birds back to within 3.
Yeah, the block between Barman and Juergens just wasn't sealed enough tight together and found the gap.
High set lining up, and that just stays in. It got the left palm of Boston, but the team was more retreated past the 10-foot line, and Oshkosh quickly gets that point back. Carthage not out of it yet. Plenty of time to come back and set #1 of the trifecta this Tuesday afternoon. However, a mishandle by Manojlovic, another service ace for the Titans.
Yeah, we talked about the Firebirds serving tough coming in, but the Titans have shown that they can do that just as well, if not better, and you can't really run your offense if you can't get that first pass.
Another ace out of the sleeve, Grace Juergens, able to deliver the 5-9 pin, and that is really, this is something I have not yet seen this year from the Firebirds. I mean, those are just absolute killer serves. From the Bick. No touch, out of play, point for the Firebirds. And the other thing too, Brea, it's not as if these are just thunder serves. It is placement, it is movement, it's that float serve, which a lot of top players have started adjusting to in the past few years. That one falls in. Eddie Danielson returns the favor. Birds back within 4.
Yeah, sometimes a float serve is harder to read when you're serve receiving than maybe a topspin. You would think just because of the velocity that it would be harder, but that spin, it's really hard to tell where it's going.
Over the middle, down. Another point for Oshkosh. I'll take a moment. I had a conversation about a year ago with the president of the AVCA, Kirsten Bernthal Booth, former coach at Creighton University, now sideline reporter, and helps run the League One volleyball. So all around. But the point is, I asked her, with the change of the serve, how have you seen the serve receive change 5 years, 10 years? And she said what really happened is you had a transition about 2019 to 2021 where coaches were saying if you couldn't get, she's like, look, I'll always take a great topspin. But if you're spending so long trying to just increase your power, she goes, I'd rather spend time doing a better float serve in the gym, teaching that, because as you mentioned, nice block up front for the Firebirds. As she said, sometimes a float serve can be more devastating, and it doesn't need pure strength. It needs accuracy, and it needs concentration, not just how hard you can swing.
Yeah, I think that you see more of a topspin, high-velocity serve, more in international play, or we've seen the progression of PVF, now MLV.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of topspin serves, but again, it's those international players coming in and adjusting. It's about half American players, half international.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how volleyball is evolving as leagues evolve.
That one stays in. Point for Oshkosh. Nice little comeback run for Carthage. 3-1 run for Carthage. Let's see if they can capitalize. Near side, what placement by Emma Crow. And just to show the middle blocking freshman, the youth movement for the Firebirds. Again, you lose key contributors last year like Liv Carroll, one of the best kill getters in the history of Carthage. You lose, Bell, your setter. I mean, best outside, best setter. Those are not easy shoes to fill, and the fact that Coach Ulmer's been able to incorporate freshmen early on, albeit down by 3, albeit against one of the best teams in the nation. It's good to see that youth movement having such an early impact.
And again, just getting them more comfortable before they go into more conference games as well.
Back set, slide. Nice up by the Titans. Can they capitalize? Out of play, Kepasek leaned left, it went right, and just like that, Oshkosh. And what I really want to compliment for the Titans so far, it's the concentration. That kill attempt could have broke through. It partially did. The front line had the wherewithal to get it back up. Service error, of course, as I compliment the concentration. However, they had the wherewithal to get it for quickly back up and just keep the rally going.
Yeah, it's always great when the block covers itself.
Stahl, one of the serve specialists for Carthage. Falling away out of system. And again, a communication error in the back row. Coach Ulmer turned around, not happy about, again, the mental errors. We compliment Oshkosh that those haven't quite happened. That is the second clear time where the Firebirds have just let it drop in front. And no power, no set, no serve can make up for the communication. Using the length of the net, down and in. You read it the whole way. Grace Juergens. And that'll be timeout number 2. Oshkosh first to the red zone, 4 away from taking set number 1. Firebirds trailing again by 5. Brea, talk me through this again for Brea Lassek. I'm Peter Ferreri on the CCIW network. Those small communication errors, how do you kind of circumvent that? How do you get through that, try to come back in set 1?
Yeah, it's all about the communication that you have before the serve is even in the air. You're saying, hey, I got this one. You're talking about different situations, even though if it's only for a split second, but establishing that communication all the way through, it never stops. And some of those balls are ones that you just can't have drop. In the very center of the court, everyone's kind of staring who's got it. One of you should. And so they know that. They've been playing volleyball their whole life. They don't need us to tell them that. They don't need their coach to tell them that, even though she will in this timeout. It's all about being the leader and saying, okay, if no one else is going to do it, I will. And if multiple people end up stepping up, great.
21-16, UW Oshkosh, a successful season so far. As mentioned, their outstanding record of 14-2. They are undefeated on the road, 3-0. However, their last loss, a 5-setter. Their only 2 losses, should say, are 5-setters. They won set 1 of their contest against LA Verne, 25-19, lost 15-4 in set number 5. You know, sometimes the running joke of a volleyball broadcaster is if you mention 5 sets, that's just what's going to happen. So we'll see what comes to fruition here as Oshkosh, another one in the back line. Lethal accuracy for the Titans, hitting a near 300 clip in set number 1.
Quick tempo on the Titans side, and that's why the block didn't have time to close.
On the slide, through the double, playable. Kabasek couldn't get the arm up in time. The quick pace, as you mentioned, the tempo for the Titans, it's just unmatched 2/3 of the way through set number 1.
And they're just below hitting 300 so far in this first set. That's very impressive. They typically hit around 231 coming in, so this is well above their season average.
Deflected off the rafters, but stayed on the same side of play, so therefore it is playable. Kabasek couldn't get the left hand underneath. We are at set 1 point. Very much on the way for a convincing set 1 victory for the Titans. It was 2-2 early on, then 3-2 Carthage, and ever since the visiting Titans have not looked back. Danielson off the top. Point from Maddie Danielson. Something Coach Ulmer said in one of our conversations this year is she said it's not just the personal growth for Danielson, it's her ability to convince me to trust her more. And having that vote of confidence from your coach, that to me says the world.
And confidence from your setter to set you side out set point.
Mishandle by McInerney out of Rosary High School. Titans still have a few points to play with. Let's see if Carthage can make it interesting in set 1. Blocked back by Boston. Looking again, that stays in. Good misdirection. The setter once again, or middle blocker I should say, Riley Barrowman, forcing set 1 the way of the Titans. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, set 2 on the way. It's the CCIW Network.
The Aspire program is part of the Aspire Center, and the Aspire Center is our 4-year career and professional development program here at Carthage College. The Aspire program is really different and unique from other colleges and universities' career programs because instead of what the typical experience is of senior year trying to go get a job or an experience after college, we want students to build their experiences starting from day 1. So whether that means going and finding an alumni panel that they're going to learn from an alumni about the career industry that they're excited about, or if it means getting an internship or a research experience that's going to build their portfolio, we want the students to develop and learn who they are so they can really leave Carthage with a very good sense of purpose and understanding before they actually leave the college. Every student that comes to Carthage has their own individual career specialist. This is a person who specializes in the industry field that they're going into. For example, we have a career specialist for our arts, communication, and culture students. This is a person who's been working as a graphic designer for the past 20 years. And she's responsible for helping those students get opportunities and experiences along the way.
I landed my first internship as a freshman at Deloitte, which is #1 of the Big 4 accounting firms in the world. Through the Aspire program, I was able to develop skills that helped me in interviews as well as networking with other professionals.
Let's look through some of the team stats. Once again, brought to you by the Pullman Auto Group. Zeros on the score. Set 1 went the way of Oshkosh. Alongside Brea Lassek, I'm Peter Ferreri. Appreciate you being with us this Tuesday evening. Brea, what stands out in the stat category, of course, besides the scathing 308 hit percentage?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, that is, you can't really start a match better than that as a team. But honestly, the stat that sticks out to me is not something you can really quantify, and that's that communication issue that we talked about. So many points were given up on the Firebirds side because of some miscommunication. So that's just something you can't really put on a statistics board.
See if the Firebirds can rebound. A hot start to the season. Another point for Oshkosh. And the reason I say that is they only lost one time between the opener and then last week against North Central. That was a Wednesday conference game against second-year head coach Ray Gooden. And why do I say that is they got used to winning and winning a lot, that I think that was kind of a wake-up call, but kind of trying to navigate that, because since that North Central loss, they've now lost 3 out of their last 4. And again, it's navigating the emotions, navigating the play time, the play style, because when you get used to winning and then all of a sudden, you get that counter punch, how do you react? And it doesn't get any easier against one of the best teams in the nation.
Yeah, definitely a hard matchup to start off this invitational, but part of that too is the way that D3 volleyball is set up is you have so many of these like triangulars and invitationals. You're playing multiple matches per day, some that could go bonus volleyball, 5 sets, extra points, all of that. So it's really that endurance factor as well. So that's what's really impressive.
Double block. Off the left shoulder, another point for Oshkosh. And again, not to sound like a broken record, but communication, and I hate to use the term, but right now, Carthage, they're playing a little bit flat right now. They're playing very hesitant. Let's see if they can break through, because as we've seen throughout the season so far, it's crazy to think, that this is game number 15 on the season. A much needed point for the Firebirds, but it's the, I guess you could say this triangular, kind of a reckoning week for the Firebirds. Who are you as a team? Are you that team that started off the season almost 10-1, or are you the team that's 3 out of the last 4? And it could very quickly go one way or another. That's a nice way to turn things around for the freshman of Wierzak.
Yeah, a great redirect in the middle, and as you were talking about with these triangulars, I mean, it's also so tough to play one game at a time, which is what every coach is always saying, of we're worried about one match at a time, and well, you still have to scout for the 2 teams that you're going to play. So it's trying to compartmentalize for that first match, but knowing you still have your full effort, your full physical effort, and also mental effort coming up for another one.
Also, no rest for the weary. Oh, nice poke attempt over. But once again, Oshkosh, I'm going to use a phrase too. I know we're only a set and a few points into the second set. Oshkosh, very opportunistic so far. They see where the serve's working, and that's where I was just going to go with this. They see where their serves are working. Another ace for the Titans.
If it's not broke, I mean, don't fix it and keep targeting that same player. That's part of that mental part, too, of it, is after you miss so many serves in a row, it's really hard to say in your mind, yes, I can do the next one.
Swiped up by Panasek. Manojlovic. And what's interesting is after every point, Firebirds, there's a sense of relief, but sense of excitement. Can they string some together? That seems to be what's happening right now. And let's see if it's a solid rotation. So a young lineup. Of course, you have Danielson in the front, but you got Stahl off to the side. You got right back to the Titans. I can't finish my sentence. So let's see. I'm gonna let it breathe. Let's see what's going on. The serve receive. 5 aces so far for the Titans. That is a very high number. Tina Manojlovic out of the back row. Let's see if they go at her. They keep near side for Danielson. Do they go right back? Back set instead. Punch up on the free ball. Over the middle and in. Macy Wente. Oh, excuse me. That was Wierzak again.
I love going to your freshman middle there. When you're having troubles offensively and you get a good pass off, what do? You run through the middle and start to establish that.
Pin over the top. McTeague on the set. Too far back row, no touch. Carthage aimed high, no contact.
Detweiler wanted the contact there, and she's gone cross court on a lot of her kills. Tried to go line there, just a little bit too much power.
You mentioned earlier, some of the differences between domestic players and international players. One of my favorite things is you can really point out an international player sometimes, because after every hit they're calling for the touch. It could be 5 feet above. I think it was a touch. I think it was a touch.
Why not try?
Yeah,
I mean, get
true.
every point that you
True.
can.
Detweiler sends that a bit far. 9-6. Titans on the lead. What was your high school mascot or athletic sponsor?
The Shamrocks.
The Shamrocks, okay.
Yep, we were an offshoot of Notre Dame, so same fight song, had a leprechaun and everything.
Oh, no kidding. Well, look at that. Same colors as well?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
I will say it's always a little bit easier when a high school has a college or pro team associated, or like Lucy Association. You get easier to get gear. My high school is the Mustangs. There's no pro Mustangs. Left pin blocked back. Nice roof opportunity, 12-6, that goes. Emma Crow, not 6-7, but 12-6.
That was a great job of Crow on the block, reading that. It was a tough set behind the back and had plenty of time to set up the block.
Your pin double block. This time yet again, Manojlovic tried to roll it over but couldn't in time.
I like the idea there of reloading to the same side and using finesse instead, but the execution against hitting errors have definitely plagued Carthage throughout the season. Service receive as well.
Ace is the place for Oshkosh as they continue on their clinic at the serve receive line. My goodness, for those young players at home, 2 aces back to back. For those young, I was going to say, for the young players at home, save this footage, because this is how you rally up and continue getting ace after ace. Danielson heels on the end line. Dama a half step in front. They go right back. Damon able to get the high set, back set, double block. Nice thumb up by Panasek. Can the Birds deliver? Near pin. Panasek on the spot yet again. Back row, Danielson. Nice running set. Tool out of play. Bust out the chainsaw. Firebirds a much needed point. Back to within 3.
Back and forth rally where we saw some great defensive plays on both sides, and so I love the decision to tool off the block.
See the unique clapping again. It's like, it's so unique. It rallies the team. Riley Barrowman, she ended set 1, the sophomore out of Oswego, able to deliver.
Yeah, she's averaging about 1.5 kills per set. We've already seen her make a difference a couple different times, and that middle connection is looking really good.
Back at the service line she goes. Nice set from the Bick, almost a missed time. Falling away, Lauren Greer. sigh of relief now for Carthage. Can they take advantage?
And that's a rare hitting error for Greer. I mean, the set wasn't exactly perfect, but she's hitting 352 on the season.
Della Wash came in for that serve. A T-bolt from Andrew High School, and just your old-fashioned bump set spike kill for Oshkosh.
And that's Greer again. She's coming off of a performance of hitting 462, 7 kills.
Carthage utilizes their first timeout of set number 2. Back and forth it's gone, but that 4-point lead for Oshkosh. What has made, and I know we're kind of going back to the well on this, but that serve receive, it's so clinical right now as we roll through some of the replays to see how we've gotten to this point. But besides that, I think that Carthage is kind of so concerned with where that serve receive is that after they're able to get the serve receive cleanly, as we see on that kill there, Oshkosh is just able to take advantage now at the net.
Yeah, I think you said it best a couple points ago, is it almost seems like a sigh of relief every time that they are able to side out, which goes back to, it doesn't feel like they believe that they are actually in this, that they're more reacting rather than being proactive and attacking in their own right. And it does start with that serve receive. They had a good adjustment where they had Damon go to the left back.
Yeah.
They've been having some problems where Oshkosh has been serving more middle and left back, and you saw them stack Damon there, one of their best passers. So I think that was a good adjustment, and now it's time to capitalize off of that.
Indeed it is. Now is the time for the Firebirds. Again, you don't want to get so far behind as you did in set 1 that you don't have an opportunity to come back. Let's see what transpires. That's the way to come out of a timeout. If you're a Firebirds fan, Tina Manojlovic. And of course she gets the serve after rotating into that position.
That was a great cross-court kill, snapping down. Talk about execution. That was pretty impressive.
Out of play it goes. That's 2 in a row for Carthage, back to within 2. Now you kind of have to ask yourself, if they get a third, does Coach Ellman in his 8th season potentially utilize a timeout for the Titans?
I think so. I mean, the point differential between the two teams has floated around that 3, 4, 5-ish deficit for the Firebirds, and we'll see what happens here, but I wouldn't be surprised by a timeout.
Oh, the block couldn't close in time. Outstanding setting. I always like to call it the setters where I can, and so outstanding job by Oshkosh, seeing the block kind of favoring their right, went left. Way to get the lead back to 2. Damon slides in. Off the tool and out of play. Nice and easy hammer and nail as Boston comes in to take over the middle duties yet again. And McTeague back at the service line. Shout out to the McTeague sisters, getting their bid into nursing school recently as posted on the old social media. That stays in. Kind of as a gentle reminder, Brea, as again, you were a student athlete yourself, in that sense that there's still that student part of this involved.
And it's hard, and you talk about nursing school as well. I'm speechless just thinking about it, having to do that all over again. Of course, I didn't go to nursing school, but the fatigue that you have.
Panasic can't get there. Firebirds within 1. Serving Detweiler, the pride of Logan High School. Back rowing in. Grace Juergens, textbook kill in the back corner.
Juergens and the rest of the Titans in the front row have really been targeting those deep corners, going to that back line as well. They're challenging the deep court because that's where defenses often forget.
They are aiming at Danielson. She has a clean return. running back in position, off the left side, right in front of Jenna Damon. Not much you could do. I mean, right now the placement of the Titans, we've said it before, I'll say it again, it is absolutely clinical. They know with the accuracy where they're going each and every time. Damon on the free ball. Can the Titans take advantage? Back set. Damon gets it off the rafters. Manojlovic finds it back row. Danielson rolls it over and finds the spot. Birds back to within 2.
Danielson has done a great job of not always having the most perfect set or being out of system and still being able to get it over. It doesn't have to be the most powerful swing every single time. We've seen different instances where Carthage has not been able to get the ball over on 3. And so just being able to be the player that is your go-to and being able to do that is huge in this moment.
Titans 1 away from the red zone. As in set 1, they pulled away at this point. Carthage saying not so fast. Katie Boston, more than a feeling, as she subs out of the game, and Jenna Damon checks back in.
And just once again, want to point out Danielson now playing in the back row. Great pass to start off that point.
Out of system. Almost an overpass. Back row, still alive. Damon finds it. Danielson dives down. Titans back right in front of Ava Detweiler, and Oshkosh hits 20. So Carthage utilizing timeout number 2, not necessarily a point differential or needing to stop that. It's more the sense of, hey, now we got to play, each point 1 for 1. Again, alongside Brea Lassek, I'm Peter Ferreri. We appreciate you being with us this Tuesday evening. Carthage, again, I think the serve-receive on the receive side is really cleaned up in the second half of the second set.
Yeah, 2 of those leaders on Carthage's side. Damon, the libero, as we talked about, shading in more on that left side and getting in front and being vocal like we were talking about before. She's been one of those players that has really stepped up the communication. And then also Danielson, she's had a few great passes to set up some points.
3-point deficit currently for the Firebirds. Kill leader, multiple players with 4. Crow, Danielson, and Detweiler all at 4 apiece. Manojlovic up to 5. A 3-ace differential. 7 aces to 4 for Oshkosh, and that is once again a key contribution as to how Oshkosh looks to go up 2 sets to 0. Back row too far. Manojlovic looked for the touch, didn't quite get it.
An error that you just can't have when the other team's in the red zone, but Carthage has been hitting about 310, so they've cleaned them up in the second set.
Off the double punched and out of play for Wierzak. Both timeouts already utilized for the Birds. Titans on a nice little run, and that's all it'll take to go up 2 sets to 0. Now with that being said, it's not as if the Firebirds can't come back in a 5-setter. They won a 5-setter in their opening contest of the year against Wilmette. However, every other 5-setter since, including their last 2 against Wartburg and Cornell, have all been 5-set defeats. So I'm sure the Firebirds don't want to necessarily have 3 in a row that have to go 5, but we digress. Not able to get enough underneath. It was Perlberg yet again.
Tough serving to start out that point and causing some chaos on the Oshkosh side. That's what you need to do if you're Carthage in this situation.
Sailing in, Damon underneath. Hits the pin on the deflection. Point for the Birds. Back to within 2. Coach Elman still has a timeout in his pocket if needed, assisted by Braden Melton, Caitlin Vera, and Delaney Rutherford. Won't need it there as get a nice side rotation tool. Coach Ulmer assisted by Sydney Kruger. Always intrigues me when you know, like for example, Oshkosh, a multiple person coaching staff and trainers. Coach Ulmer, I got a grad assistant and a trainer. Poked up. Nice kill. Cross court, Tina Manojlovic. Simply the best. Birds back within 2.
Again, Carthage is hitting efficiently in this set. Over 300, actually closer to 325.
Hits the tape. A weird angle, but you take it any way you can. All smiles for Della Walsh. The setter just kind of hit it over, as we say, backyard style, or, junior high style. Does it clear the net? Yes. Carthage is within 1. Again, the last time the timeout was needed by Oshkosh, it was that close. Let's kind of play scenarios here. If you're Carthage coming out, what type of serve are you looking for? Are you going topspin? Are you going float? Are you going safe and just making sure that you get the rally going? What if you were in the huddle right now, what would you perceive?
Yeah, I think it's more about which zone you're attacking, whether about the type of serve necessarily. I think you never want to do it safe, but when you're in this red zone going back and forth, not exactly points to give up, you don't want to challenge it too much. So if you're not feeling that confident, maybe on the safer side, but pointing out some of those passers on the Oshkosh side that have been struggling a little bit. And I think the momentum has swung toward the Firebirds in the past couple of points, as it was indicated by the net. I mean, an unlucky roll for the Titans, it's not necessarily a bad play, and that's kind of indicative of how the last few points have been going for the Firebirds. Sometimes that just happens, and I think that the in-game adjustments so far for Carthage are really impressive, and as this match goes on, even if they don't take set number 2, expect it to be a lot closer.
From behind the Bick. Can the Birds take advantage? Near pin, Danielson blocked back. Manojlovic with the up. Back set, back row, that stays in! Just a fraction in, the line judge on the spot. We are tied at 23 apiece. Shout outs to the R1 James Art, R2 Patty Dawson. Excellent job officiating so far. We're tied at 23, and a tape ace. Why not?
That's how this match started, was a tape ace for Carthage, and you kind of felt that momentum start to go, and how about a set point ace? I mean,
can the Birds finish the comeback? We'll have extras. 24-24.
this is where you start to see the composure of the Titans come in. They're ranked so high because they've been in situations like this before. We saw a couple points midway through set number 2 where it was getting closer. They didn't even need a timeout. Their leaders took them out of it.
Way to regain composure for the Titans. Danielson falling away, tries to play the line to no avail. Falling away into the net. Juergens not enough once again at set point.
And on that last point, Carthage forcing the Titans out of system.
From the Bick. Danielson hits the tape and can't clear the net. We continue on. Panasek coming in 14 service aces on the year, tied for third on the squad. Boston rotates in, so you know they're going in the middle if they can. Danielson! What net presence by Barrowman. Saw the trajectory, Brea, took advantage, roofed it down.
Great job of closing in and closing down.
The back set, back row. Titans reset up. Breaking through to the other side. Valiant comeback effort for the Firebirds, but not enough as Oshkosh ends the threat in set number 2, 27-25. We will take a timeout. When we come back, set 3, will it be a sweep to open up the evening in Kenosha, or will the Firebirds find a way to send it to 4? Don't go anywhere. For Brea Lassek, I'm Peter Ferreri on the CCIW Network. Set 3 at hand on the CCIW Network. For Brea Lassek, I'm Peter Ferreri. Set 1 favored the Titans as things concluded. Carthage, a valiant effort in set 2, just fell short. Brea, what do the Firebirds have to do in set 3 to make sure it goes to 4?
Yeah, first of all, make sure that those in-game adjustments that they made serve receive wise and just communication wise stay up to how they were in those later parts of the set number 2. But also I'd like to see them limit the errors that way and also hit off the block a little bit more, tool and get those connections a little bit better between setter, right side, setter, middle.
What's challenging is you know the Firebirds, and it's, stop me if you've heard this before for our listeners at home. You know they have the skills. You know they have the abilities. You saw one of the best starts in program history with the amount of wins they had. The rankings just got updated. I just got a message from Justin Corrigan, one of these sports information directors. The visiting Titans still remain number 3. Firebirds have now dropped out of 25, still receiving votes. Again, they've had quality wins versus top 10 opponents. However, it's a little bit of discombobulation right now that they're looking to line up trailing 2-1 right now. But when firing, pun intended, on all cylinders, they're one of the best in the nation.
Yeah, at their best, they've competed well with number 3.
Yeah. Back row Danielson finds the pieces. Manojlovic. Near pin, breaks through the block, and just able to kind of catch it in her midsection is Detweiler. 3-1 your start.
And again, we saw those improvements for Carthage in set number 2. They actually hit more efficiently than Oshkosh. I think it was really, first of all, the serve receive, like we see there, the service errors as well on the other end for the Firebirds, but also the blocks. They were outblocked 3-1, and we saw a really late block in the middle in those bonus points that resulted in set number 2 going to the Titans.
3-point lead early on in set number 3. Manojlovic on the free ball with the bump. Overpass but playable. Setting up Manojlovic, left-hand touch. Blocked back but tooled out of play. Just a reminder for those at home, the D3 level does not have official review, so calls stand on the court. Not that they won't bring it in at some point, but something just to make everybody aware of. Another point for the Titans. Timeout called by Coach Ulmer, trailing by 5, 6-1. For Brea Lassek, I'm Peter Ferreri. Brea, did you see at the D1 level they actually now have gotten rid of the review cards, and you just hold up a C with your hand?
Yeah, I love the review changes that they've made on the Division I level and how we've seen that play out into the professional leagues as well that are developing. I think something really cool is Major League Volleyball having the Bolt 6 technology.
Yeah.
There's 20 plus cameras all around. You don't even need line judges. That was something really hard for me to get used to, is waiting for the call, looking for the flag to go down, and it's like, no, I'm looking at the monitor and it's a graphic showing me exactly how much that the ball hit the line. It's just the technology that's available in these growing leagues is so good to see, and I think that we'll see Bolt 6 eventually go into D1, and then years down the line, I mean, like you said, hopefully they add reviews in the coming years for D3, but just changes all around happening for volleyball. And we're here, I'm a Nebraskan, so it's hard for me to admit, but we're here in one of the volleyball states in Wisconsin.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
I see those changes coming here maybe first.
Did you go, I'm sure you watched, if you didn't, to that 70,000-seater that they had at Memorial Stadium?
I was there.
You were?
I was there.
What was that like?
It was incredible. I actually almost didn't go, and then my friends were like, no, we'll get you a ticket. You need to come, and I'm so glad I did. It's definitely an environment I'll never forget.
I still get chills thinking about the walkout with the tunnel. Oh, amazing. What is also amazing is how Oshkosh is playing. They are cool, calm, collected. Bench is having fun. Can the Firebirds rekindle the fire that we've seen early on in this season? From the Bick, block back. Damon with the up. Mojlovic finds the line, and as stated, both these teams will play again this evening, so it's not as if there's any rest or time to go back and watch the game film, which if you're the Firebirds and you don't find yourself winning this contest, it's kind of a good thing that you don't have a lot of time to think about it, because you can right the ship very quickly and try to get back in the win column. If indeed that's the situation, we have another violation for the Firebirds.
Yeah, not too much time to dwell on it, but also a little bit more time to rest the legs.
Yeah.
Both Edgewood and Oshkosh the next matchups, so both of the visiting teams having to play back-to-back matches.
Your pin double block. High back set. Ah, that was one of the best sets of the evening for Haley Wierzak. Just floated up in the middle.
I think the hard thing about playing a 6-2 is that you are varying your setters, and so those connections might not necessarily, they might be stronger with one setter compared to the other, but it does open up your attack options.
Wierzak couldn't close the block in time. Off the tape, Danielson digs it down, poke over. From the Bick, out of play. Birds back within 5. Slow and steady right now. It's what we saw in the first 2 sets. Carthage trailed, found their way back. McTeague back at the service line now. McTeague does have 6 aces coming into today. Couldn't find number 7.
Carthage needs to establish their block a little bit more. They seem a little out of sorts coming in, maybe with more momentum, and the ball is just being pushed out.
Yeah.
They need to direct their bodies more in and seal the line a little bit better.
Playable back row. Izzy Kuhn in the contest. She got the start today from Fond du Lac. Oh, and sometimes just a little bit of luck. Hits the tape, rotates out, just kisses the line. 11-4 your score.
We've seen that on both sides, maybe more in a match than you would typically see.
Running it down, Kuhn. Panasic keeps it alive. Boston blocked 1v1. Barrowman takes advantage. And that's got to be so tough, Brea. I mean, truly your best middle blocker on the team. That's that battle you want in the middle. High back set, just the tip over to try to catch the Titans off balance. No dice. Danielson falling away. Panasic can't get there. It's a nice play by Danielson. And Danielson doesn't have the height as some of her teammates. However, with her ability to jump, she increased her elevation in the off season. Able to jump with the best of them. On the slide. Back to Danielson. Boston over the middle with the Boston bomb. 6-12. The pride of St. Louis.
That was a great connection in the middle for Boston. That's one of the better plays that we've seen from Carthage.
Out of play. Subbing in to go to the service line is Malia Winchell out of Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Coach Ellman getting some of the reserves into this third set, understandably so, where it's going in the favor of the Titans. Danielson thought she'd get a touch, didn't happen. Another timeout, 14-6. Your score, we'll keep it here. While we have a moment, we also want to shout out the Carthage Athletics Hall of Fame that occurred this past weekend. 4 former student athletes making their way into the Hall of Fame. Herman Avon from men's tennis, class of 19. Matt Meneghetti, class of 18, the golf program. Coach Augie Schmidt, the 38th season head coach of baseball. My goodness, what a tenure. Enters the Hall of Fame, and former men's volleyball outside Griffin Shields, class of 19. So congrats to them. 14-6. Your score, Edgewood was in the stands for much of this contest. They're off to the side, kind of warming up. I'm sure they're looking at this Oshkosh team like saying to themselves, we have to play the cleanest game we've played all year.
And that's been the struggle for Carthage, is those errors, those communication errors behind the service line, letting a few balls drop that maybe shouldn't, the connections between setter and multiple hitters. When Carthage has played at its best, as we saw towards the end of set number 2, they were competing point for point, even came back and forced some bonus volleyball. But when they've played at their worst in this match, it's a 14-6 point differential.
Service, ace. Winchell.
8 aces so far for Oshkosh. I mean, just a tremendous day behind the service line.
Make that 9, 10-point lead. She's playing short the past 2. Let's see if she goes long. On the back slide, Boston powers through. Adds a little bit of Provel cheese onto that hit.
That was a much needed side out for Carthage, especially getting a very lethal server off of the line.
Block back Boston. A few feet out of bounds. Lead back to 10. Now if you're Oshkosh, you're kind of just coasting, trying to get these final few points. And calling it an early victory. Boston tries to tip over to the left. Damon finds it. I'm sure as well, if you are the Firebirds, you're truly living up to, hey, let's just do this 1 point at a time. Can we win this next point? Okay, then can we win that next point? The overall match hasn't gone in your favor. We saw the end, the conclusion, Brea, of set 2, and my goodness, I truly thought the Firebirds had a solid chance to come away victorious. And it was kills like that from Tia Manojlovic is what brought them oh so close, and extras. Still down by 10.
Carthage has shown great moments like that power swing on the left pin, but it's just stringing those all together to be a more consistent attack.
Tia Manojlovic. The kill leader for Carthage. Midway through set number 3. Quick set, wow. Thunderous. Clears the rafters. Back bump on the free ball, Wierzak. Sailing through, out of play. Is there a touch? Yes, there was. R1 on the spot. Titans still up by 10, 6 away from the sweep. Want to remind everybody that immediately following the contest, be about usually a 30-minute break before we kick off, or in this case, have a first serve for the next contest, which is Oshkosh v. Edgewood. Edgewood, again, a 9-4 record. They are also 3-0 on the road, although this would be considered a neutral site game, of which they are 4-4. Brea will be back on the broadcast for this, the second one alongside myself. A good diversification. Was there a tip? There was not. Serving now is Della Walsh, another freshman contributor. Back row, and that just stays in. It was a 10-point lead. I was just going to say a 10-point lead quickly down to 6. Again, it just, can these runs happen earlier for the Firebirds so they don't have to put the home faithful at Tarble on the edge of their seat? This sequence has really been successful. What's Carthage done differently to get back into this?
They played with a lot more composure, and I think a couple of those points in that last run for Carthage were more attacking errors on the Titans side, which isn't to say that it isn't caused by Carthage putting the block up more consistently, having them have to vary up their looks a little bit more, forcing them to go out of system, tough serving. All to say they're just playing more well-rounded and more as a team, and have had some balls drop a little bit more their way here.
Sure. Right now, a 277 clip for Oshkosh, and here's the unique thing. Even though Carthage trailing 2-0 and trailing in set, they're still hitting 202. It's not as if they're in the negative right now or in the zero fraction. They're hitting solid when the opportunity presents itself. Let's see if the comeback effort continues. Detweiler in. Ooh, that was close. See, I thought. I thought it was in. Line judge on the spot. Close. Oshkosh first team, as they were in the prior 2 sets, to the red zone. Finding the line, that does indeed stay in. I paused. I was going to say it, I paused, and that time it was.
Right in front of the line judge, makes the right call, and a beautiful shot, going line, seeing that the block wasn't sealed off and challenging the deep corner.
From the big block back, Haley Wierzak. It's down to 5. Can the run continue for the Birds? Manojlovic with the service error. It's so hard because the pressure is on. You can't make a mistake. You're pressing maybe a little bit. You want the perfect serve. She was looking right to kiss over that tape, not able to do so. And Panasek has the Titans within 4 of the sweep, but Wierzak said we're not out of it yet. McTeague checking in alongside Boston.
Wierzak hammering down in the middle. I've been really impressed by the power of her arm so far in set number 2 and 3. We've been able to see that display a little bit more.
Double block for Boston. ISO over the middle. Playable again, almost a point for Carthage. Titans kept it alive. Boston says now's the time. Welcome to the tea party. 21-17.
Great decision to just keep feeding the heavy hand in Boston, you can tell that she's fired up both defensively and offensively, so get her going.
Danielson looks again. Was there a touch? Oh, and immediately the R1's going to have a conversation. I thought there may have been a touch from Oshkosh, hence the back row went for it. I don't think the back row would have went for the dive. All right, so they're saying there was no touch, and it touched the ground before the back row hit. That's what I was trying to expound that I believe that was the conversation was about.
That's a tough break for Carthage,
Yeah.
a heavy swing after a great back and forth.
Boston over the middle. Again, as we stated, I know I sound like kind of a broken record, but when the key contributors for the Firebirds, such as Katie Boston, delivers on what she is capable of doing, that's a top-ranked team. Can they find enough of those pieces to continue? Not going to happen there. That was perfect placement. Not many players are getting there regardless on that kill attempt. But point being, we saw the mental errors early on in this contest by Carthage. Those got cleaned up very quickly. Can some of the other, nuts and bolts get tightened before their 7 o'clock matchup? On the back set. Nice cross kill. And it is match point for the Titans from Oshkosh. Danielson has it blocked. High set over the middle. Damon picks up the pieces from the back corner. And Panasek can't get the dig. Birds back within 5, and Panasek just slid into her teammates. I don't know if that was on purpose or accidental. You saw that, right?
I'm going to guess by the way she was covering her face, so it wasn't on purpose.
Okay. That's me. I have to watch every step getting up here to the perch. Don't want to fall. Breaking through, and that's going to be it. That's going to be all she wrote. The player to watch, Sam Perlberg from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, comes through with the final nail in the coffin. And UW Oshkosh and the Titans take out the Firebirds in 3, 25-19. Before we crunch the final stats, Brea, thoughts on this contest?
I think it's really unfortunate for Carthage because we saw such great bursts of brilliance a couple different times. They just got behind, allowing a few too many runs. Too late a couple times, set number 2 and 3. We saw some competitive play and we saw the connections start to come into fruition. It might bode well for that match at 7 p.m., but unfortunately not for this one.
Let's crunch some of the final numbers before we sign off for the evening as we look through some of the replays. Again, a situation where in all 3 sets, Carthage trailed but still found a way to come back. The resiliency, the resolve, the ability for Carthage. You know the talent is there. We've seen it earlier in the season. So it will be intriguing to see twofold. 1, how does Carthage respond? Because they know they have to have a short mindset. And 2, can Oshkosh continue the winning ways? Future upcoming schedule. Again, next women's match is going to be, as the clock states, well, we'll find out. Clock just switched again. But it's going to be Oshkosh taking on Edgewood in the next contest. And at 7 o'clock, roughly, it's going to be Carthage versus Edgewood themselves this Saturday. Women's soccer versus Illinois Wesleyan at 4. Then 7 o'clock, men's soccer versus Illinois Wesleyan. And then a week from tomorrow, men's soccer versus Carroll and women's volleyball versus Illinois Wesleyan. All right, 33 minutes on the clock. We'll be back a few minutes early to preview that matchup Edgewood versus Oshkosh. Brea, the final stats. Let's go through them.
Yeah, I think the thing that sticks out to me most is those 10 service aces to 5. And not only that, but 7 service errors on Carthage side. It was really a battle from the beginning. From the very first serve, we saw an ace on Carthage's side, and both service lines were a factor here.
Sure.
I also want to point out Carthage had 10 reception errors. So that serve and pass, even though they were still able to almost put up about 200 hitting percentage, it all starts with passing.
It does indeed. And of course, team stats brought to you by the Pullman Auto Stores of the greater southeastern part of Wisconsin. We want to thank you all for being with us for broadcast number 1 of 3. For executive producer Mike Love, producer John Voinovich, as well as the director Olin Haleko, Morgan Garson, graphics and replay, Yam and Ray, your camera operators this evening. This program has been a presentation of Firebird Broadcast Productions and Carthage College, copyright 2025. Once again, for Brea, Lassek, I'm Peter Ferreri. We will be back in just about a half hour as the Titans take on Edgewood in Game 2 of the Trifecta on the CCIW Network.